Temperature. So basically what happens in the iron yard, all the noise and kind of what the future looks like. What we saw with the stuff that we noticed. We're going to get started here in like a couple minutes if y'all are ready. How are you?
You want it, right?
Huh? Yeah, if you got one, I'll take one. It's not that big a deal.
Virtual reality hangout in Puerto Rico. He did this it's like him and like VR concept like people and he looked like the little inside the right now so it made it look like there was like people working on
Alright, we're going to get started if you guys are ready. Click. No, you guys gotta click it. Nah, you gotta click it. Yeah, Millie was looking for him.
The only one's out here.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
How do you find the USB?
Alright, so I think we're gonna get started. Nah, I'm good. I can cook it. Alright, cool. How you guys all doing? My name is Boyles. I'm hoping to talk to you guys a little bit about the current state of tech education in Cincinnati. So, I hopefully want to kind of cover like where we've been, where we're at right now, and like kind of what the future holds. So a little bit about me. So who am I? My name is Boyles. Previously, I was the front-end engineer instructor at the Iron Yard. So if you're not familiar with the Iron Yard, it was a coding boot camp. We launched in Cincinnati a little over a year ago. I'll get more into that, kind of what that all entails. Now I'm the lead front-end engineer at Ohio. So I kind of handle all the front-end design, development stuff there. I'm also an organizer of Hack Cincy. So Hack Cincy is a hackathon, kind of more group-ran, getting all developers, product people together, to really build like a cool tech ecosystem. So what you'll see up here, that's my son, and that's my daughter. He's 3, she's 1. They're really what drives me in kind of making tech education a better experience for people and making it more accessible for everyone. I have a daughter. You know, there's a lot of talk right now about diversity in tech and how do we get other people involved. I've worked at 5 companies, I think, total in my career. I've maybe worked with 1 or 2 women developers. That's an issue, right? We need to have a lot more in there. I want her to be able to come into a world where she can have just some niche opportunities I can, as she can, as everybody else can. And not have a ton of debt in there. So that's one of the things I really want to kind of address and talk about. So, the Iron Yard. What was the Iron Yard? The Iron Yard is a coding boot camp. Basically, if you're not familiar with the model, what we do is we take people that were in different careers usually, typically career changers, some were just getting out of college, and we would take them, we're going to teach them to be developers, right? So it's a 12-week program, it's super intensive. We asked all of our students to be 60 to 80 hours a week. So there's no having a job. There's pretty much no social life. As Brett, one of my former students back there, can probably advise. There's no social life in this. It's like hardcore, intensive. We're going to teach you this, and you're going to have it down 12 weeks. So, our first class launched, like I said, a year ago. We had 4 students in our first cohort, 6 in our second, and I think 7 or 8 in our third. So we ended up with 16 graduates over 3 cohorts. Like I said, it was front-end engineering only. So you typically, when you launch a boot camp, you try and get 2, a front-end and a back-end course in the city. We launched in Cincinnati with just 1. The main reason for that is we had a hard time acquiring students that were more interested in the back end. Why that was, I don't know. There's other boot camps here in town that kind of handle that. If you're familiar, there's Max Tech, Tech Elevator, who gave a speech up today in Washington State, but for some reason we couldn't fill a back end class. So we ended up launching just our front end. Saw about 95% job placement, $55,000 average salary coming out of the program. So, I mean, that right there is ROI, right? Most of our students came in, you know, basically stuck in a dead-end job, not like what they were doing, didn't have anywhere to go. Now they're junior-level developers, they're making a lot of money, having an awesome good time, and they have a real career path ahead of them, right? You come in as a junior, there's pretty much anywhere you can go in technology once you learn the code or develop. I also taught 40 free classes on HTML, JavaScript, probably taught over 150 people. So what we did is we opened up like at 6 p.m. We'd have like, hey, come in, you know, spend an hour or 2 with us. We'll teach you the basic HTML. If you like it, awesome, sign up to our program. If not, that's cool. We learned some stuff. You got some pizza, you got some beer, right? Everyone loves drinking some beer. We have a 5-star course rating on Course Report. So Course Report is the website. One of the things about boot camps is that not all of them are good. I'll be straight and tell you guys my philosophy. There is ones that are shady, there's ones that will take your money and run, but there are certain ones that do extremely well, and they do a good job. So Course Report does a good job of cutting through the bullshit, telling you here's the good programs that you can get into, here's the ones that aren't, and what the reviews are is actual students that have gone through the program will give you good reviews and give you basics on what that is. If you're interested in any boot camp anywhere in the world, I highly suggest get on there, read experiences that people have actually had. And don't just read about the company, read about the city too. Because there's different instructors in each city, and your experience is going to go based on the instructor you have, not just the company. Right? So there's different ways to go. And not everyone kind of matches up to the instructor they want to get to. So go through, do your research, go and talk to them. Right? Go into the campus before, talk to people, learn kind of, do your homework, right? Don't just throw $13,000 to somebody and say, hey, teach me shit. It's not going to happen. We also did a lot of kids classes through the library, which is awesome. So we opened up a library, parents bring their kids in, sat down, teach them. One of the things that's really cool about kids is they love like Minecraft, like those games. So I mean, these are small kids, right? How do you integrate them and get them interested in coding? Where coding, it's numbers on screen, right? But when you can incorporate something like Minecraft, like just a fun example, they get so into it. They're also learning logic, they're learning fundamental skills in life, they're learning some really cool stuff. So we saw a high success model with that. That's something that personally I want to see more of. I hope to champion some kind of effort that in the future. We had an amazing board of mentors, including Ample, USDP, Gaslight, Differential, Rockfish, Bannery, Centrifuge, Ready, Losun, LP Enterprises. If you're familiar with any of those companies, what's kind of like one thing that sticks out to all of them? Startups, right? Small companies. Are they going to be hiring our students? No. One of the things that we really struggled with was getting into big companies. How do you get into a Kroger? How do you get into Cincinnati Insurance? How do you get into all these companies that are looking for developers? What we found was it's red tape. Red tape, red tape, red tape. We tried to get in there and say, how do you incorporate these people into your company? And it's a long process, right? We were only here for a year. So it takes years to build those relationships. Okay, we'll get to that. So what you'll see, this might be it right here, and one for the homies. The Iron Yard is no longer around. So we launched about a year ago. The interesting thing with these boot camps is, I'm sure you've seen it's a very new emerging market. Like any new emerging market, there's struggles, there's stripes you're going to go through. The Iron Yard came, we had a really good success in the Southwest. We had 10 companies, we took a large investment. The investors were with University of Phoenix. So they were one of the major entities that invested in University of Phoenix. They invested in us. Didn't really mesh, kind of had some concept go through. So we launched a bunch of campuses after that. I think it was like 6 or 7 more. Got to 22 campuses. Within like 6 months after that merger, they closed 5, including Cincinnati's campus. 5 months after that, they closed the entire company. So 22 campuses, 200 jobs, gone. Why was that? We scaled way too quickly. Way too quickly. We had validated our business model in the Southwest, which is not the Midwest.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So people in the Southwest, it was a younger demographic. They were not near as scared to take a risk in their life. They're a better place to take a risk in their life. They can say, hey, you know what? Hey, I hate this job. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go do this crazy ass thing, try to learn this, and try to make my better life. In the Midwest, we're a little more conservative. We like to think things out. We can't just say, hey, I'm going to leave this job, screw it, whatever. We couldn't do that. That was kind of one of the cases we saw. Our move took way too long. We started when we first came in. Like I said, we had taken major investment from the University of Phoenix. University of Phoenix, one of the parts of that deal was that they would also give us real estate. We're a tech company. They were a college. Real estate that they have is not matching the same demographic we have. So where we ended up in Westchester. Right? Who wanted to drive? We had students that were driving an hour and a half from downtown, coming up 71. It's not fun. I do it every day. So that was one of our major pitfalls. That's why you saw that 4 students in our first class, 6 students in our second class. As soon as we came downtown, we saw a lot more interest. We were on 7th Street. We were right in the middle of it. We could go to OTR, grab a beer after. That was a lot more helpful. That just took too long. The high cost, inability for students to get loans easily. Program's $13,000. One of the things is we are not accredited. So we could not take any federal loans. We could not take FAFSA. We could not do any of that. If you were getting your money, you had to come through a private loaner or you had to put it out of your pocket. One of the things is, most of these people that want to take this class are young, they don't have significant credit that somebody's going to give $30,000 to put towards education, right? It's hard. So, I mean, one of the things that we're going to have to look at that is getting these boot camps accredited or working with already partnered campuses, university programs, and being able to help people fund these programs easier. There's no night classes, it's a large commitment. Like I said, 12-week classes, no night classes, you have to quit your job. One of the things that happened when they closed that 5 campuses I told you about is we actually switched to a more diverse program where it was actually 3 sessions of 4 weeks apiece. Our first 4 were actually all online. So we've taken that 12 weeks, cut it down to 8. The first 4 you can do at your own pace and your own schedule at home. You come in, then you would learn with a mentor for another 4 weeks. We'd be able to advise you right here in class. In the last 4 weeks, you could split between. So we've been able to get them down, but it was just too much too late, right? We were already failing. We were hemorrhaging money. Didn't work out. We had a hard time getting our back-end program off the ground, like I said. It's just, I wish I knew. Honestly, I wish I knew why we had it in Cincinnati. The front-end job opportunities in Cincinnati for Java and .NET is actually the highest for those 2 languages. If you came and told me, hey, I'm a front-end engineer, I'm a junior-level developer, I know .NET, I could run out probably an hour and get you a job. Making $50,000 no problem, right? Pretty easily. JavaScript, though, is with front-end engineering, there's not as many jobs for front-end engineering. But it's a really highly sought-out skill. So if you have that right-hand side or the left-hand side of your brain, whenever the one's creative, if you're creative and you're also logical, those 2 parts come together, you're going to make a lot more money. That's where you start seeing the full-scale engineers and full-scale developers. So it's kind of a risk-reward. So if you're highly logical, you need to go back. And if you're not, I mean, if you have more creativity, but you're also logical, you can go to the front and you make a ton of money. Just kind of depends on what you want to do. Like I said, Midwestern conservatism, the new style education, nothing we can do about that. We're here. One of the hard things that I ran into is actually convincing people within our community that boot camps are a good educational model, right? I spent a lot of time with anybody who's ever on CTEX, like I spent a lot of time arguing with other developers and trying to convince them that these students are viable, right? I have all my students that I graduated from my first 2 cohorts and some from my 3rd that have gone on to work in real life. I'm hearing from the people that they're working with every day like, hey, we need more of these, right? They're doing a kick-ass job. They're doing really, really well. I'm super impressed with them. I wish we had more to give, but I'm very confident in Max IT and Tech Elevator that we'll be able to fill this gap in the bootcamp model. So why career in tech? Employment of computer and information technology is projected to grow 12%. So that's the highest in any occupation, right? So if you want to get into a career that's growing, here it is. Every single business has some kind of technical aspect to it. I don't care what it is. Or has some way it can be to strip you of tech. If you want to be able to get into it, that's the way to do it. There's a super high earning potential. I mean, obviously, you'll see, Yahoo, CNN, they post all these clickbaity articles about the top 5 paying jobs. The one you always see in there is developer, programmer, people writing code. So why that? Career satisfaction, or career development and career satisfaction is really important too. Working in tech is honestly one of the funnest things you can do. Where else can you go, get a beer at 4 o'clock, on work, just hang out, right? You have freedom to go from work from remote. I have, like I said, I have 2 kids. I've never missed a T-ball game. I've never missed a preschool program. I've never had any of that. And one of that is the flexibility to be able to go in there and do what you want to do. You can still live your life while working. You have the flexibility to go through and do where you want. Like I said, great work-life balance, and the freedom is just, working in tech is one of the best things you can do. I honestly love it. I've been doing it my entire life. If you love what you do, then that's what life's all about, right? It's not always about the money. Why is tech education a big deal? There was 5,000 job postings for Cincinnati developers last year. 5,000. Our higher education We graduated 400 students in IT and tech. So right there, we have a demand of 5,000. We're graduating 400. Where are we going to fit that? What is going to fill that gap, right? Because someone would come in and kind of fill that gap. A large lack of diversity in our industry. We need people we need more women. We need more people of color. We need everybody else getting involved. We need people from the lower income brackets. One of the easiest things that you can do when you're getting in this is there's no barrier to entry in technology. You need a computer, you need internet. You need YouTube, right?
Really?
Yeah. You can get online and you can teach yourself this stuff. It's not a doctorate. It is a lot simpler than you think. And there's plenty of people in Cincinnati that,
Curious, I'm a programmer myself.
yeah,
The big obstacle that I see with anybody who's younger, who's interested in the path, is as soon as they find out how much time they're actually going to have to dedicate to learning our program,
yeah,
they lose the whole focus right away.
exactly. Yeah.
So I get what you're saying about it's accessible information.
Mhm.
It is easily accessible. I don't think the time commitment is easy for most people to do. That's one of the things that's tough to battle,
Yeah.
especially as attention spans shrink.
That's true. And I mean, one of the things is you have to have an urge to do it. You have to have an urge to want to be able to better your life, right? That's just, I mean, that's something you can't teach though. That's built into a person. So, I mean, there's so many people that are in the lower levels of the economy that are saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. They can't go to college and spend $130,000 on a doctorate. But they have the drive and the knowledge to be able to learn something. Why not tech? Right? Why not get into this? If you don't have that drive, then I mean, honestly, I don't want to hire you. Right? Some of the best developers I work with are the people that have the drive, especially in technology. You have to be able to love what you do, and you have to stay on top of it because it changes so quickly. Go ahead.
I think just something about it. My career in tech or whatever for many years, and it feels to me like a lot of times what happens is this doesn't get brought up until too late.
Exactly.
So we need to have this started much earlier in students' life. And so I've always thought of Khan Academy as a program that many people wear that teaches kids to act whatever. Why does one of these institutions create something that kids can use to start learning about software development?
Yeah.
And then it becomes
Hour of code.
no, I've seen some of those, but they're not, they kind of play with them a little bit, but what happens is they're not enough, they're sticky enough that then they will think we do this when we get older.
Exactly.
They're just playing with it, there's slack, there's a bunch of stuff out there, but it's something that, the same way that Microsoft is itself ingrained in kids when they're really young, or Macs or whatever, when they go to make decisions later on, it's who they go to. And so
Yeah.
it needs to have a bigger say.
One of the things that, so when I was at the Iron Yard, Jeff Bay was my campus director. He is now the program manager of the Brandery. So me and him were both very entrepreneurial minded. We both have ideas that we throw together and we come up with a bunch of stuff. One of the ideas that we had for solving that was actually creating a night program for students where they could come in and have access to a developer, right? So we're going to go out to all the high schools. I actually went to, if you're familiar with STEM, or all the STEM programs in Cincinnati, right? Hughes High has a really great STEM program over there. I actually went to one of their programs where they were, the high school students were coming through, they were teaching it, they were learning a bunch of stuff. One of the problems there was that their teacher, I can't remember her name right now, she had taken it on as another side project and wasn't fully qualified for it. So there was only a certain point where she could take them, and once they got to that point where they were out learning the teacher, there was nowhere else for them to go, right?
What you really need is they have platforms in which they can deliver this material, but you don't have the backwards materials that deliver. So they use a lot of flipping the classroom model. And so
Yeah.
you become the expert, and so you then they essentially put it in LMS, these classes, and then they become the expert, in that area. So it doesn't, they want to do it, they don't qualify to share.
Exactly. So I mean, they need that. That's the hard part. Is that's one of the things that we struggle with the Iron Guards. Creating that content is not easy. We actually went through and wrote all of our content for all of our classes. We were spending. That's where, to tell you the truth, that's where we got $20 million from our investment. I would say probably 10 of that went into creating content because it is hard. I mean, developers make a lot of money, and have them sit down and write content, quality content, especially from a developer. If you ever talk to a developer, finding somebody that is extremely knowledgeable in development, but is also good content and a good person that can put in a reasonable, especially for children, right? It's really hard to find that. So, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how we're going to solve that. It's going to be, how do we get better content out to the students? How do we create content that's easily consumable for children and for the middle age? I mean, even like the middle school, high school. I'm self-taught. I started developing when I was 12 years old. I grew up in one of the poorest counties in Indiana. I didn't meet an actual developer until I was 22 years old and took my first job. I went to Miami for 3 years, got recruited out of Miami, left Miami to go join a startup. I self-taught myself on YouTube. I self-taught myself on books. And that's how I got my start. I was driven. I knew what I wanted to do. My parents supported me by buying me the resources I needed. Not everybody has that, right? So I wish that at some point I would have known more about what was here in Cincinnati, had somewhere to go where I could actually talk to a developer. When I was, 14, 13, 12 years old. I actually talked to a person in the industry. My high school did not have any computer science classes at all. At all. I never had a class in school. So having just somewhere, Union Hall's a great experience of that too. You could go down, you could talk to anybody there. Most people know how to code. So having people, when they get to those models, or one of the experiences that we had, or we'll see in your student, is when they get to a certain point where they've learned everything they can, they get stuck on a problem, to stop. Because it's really frustrating, right? They'll just stop learning altogether. So it's helping them bust through that glass ceiling in the educational model, and helping them understand, hey, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. How do I get above this? Be able to just talk to somebody or being around a bunch of people that you know that are working on the same problem helps too. I think that was one of the things that was most beneficial for our boot camp, was being around other people that were learning the same thing. And learning from other people. Most of my students, I'm only one person, I'm teaching 10 people. They will teach each other things, like you're saying, flipping the classroom, right? Is that I can give them the education, but they would actually go out. I had 2 or 3 students that would probably be my top students that would help everybody else. And that's super important. You can't just rely on one person to teach everybody else. You have to have a good collaborative environment where they don't feel scared to go through and ask questions to other students or be able to help each other out. But a little off topic about that.
Do you think that there's a lack of volunteerism from working developers that could be vital to that process?
I don't think it's a lack of trying. I think it's just there's not a global connected effort right now to do it. I know every developer I know wants to help, but who is getting everybody together and organizing that effort? No one right now, right? I know, I talk to a lot of people, right? I know a lot of developers in Cincinnati, I know a lot of people. They all want to help, but there's just nowhere to kind of go and organize that. We need somebody to come through, say hey, just like, Union Hall came together and is helping all the entrepreneurs, right? All the entrepreneurs now have a go place where they can meet. Why don't we have that for developers or for people that are product people? It's somewhere just to come through and have an environment where you can all get together and talk about it. I don't think you would have a hard time finding volunteers for the development side that would want to be able to do this stuff. It's just making it accessible for them and easy for them to find that and be able to link them up. Almost like Boys and Girls Club America, where you give them a mentor. If we had something like that for developers, that'd be cool.
It's not just a small
Okay. So who's going to build your amazing ideas, right? So a lot of people in here are entrepreneurs. Why do we need people in tech? Someone needs to build the shit you're thinking about, right? I don't know how many times, I can't tell you how many startups I've helped advise. They come to me like, hey, that's a cool idea. Cool, have you done anything with it? No, I need your help doing that. First of all, an idea is just an idea. True. Idea is bullshit. Execution is where it's at, right? Ideas are a dime a dozen. It takes a certain person to be able to build that idea into something. So we need people that will be able to take that execution and convert the ideas that people are coming up with and work with those business people to build these ideas. That's what's going to foster a better creative community. That's what's going to build our startup community. That's what's going to really foster the growth that we need to see. One of the problems that I've seen, in the last 2 or 3 years with companies coming out of the brain is that they were not technical. There was no technical side to them, so they would rely on outside companies, which I'm sure anybody here can say is not easy. You're spending a ton of money, you're working with somebody in California. It's hard to go through and build that. We need more people here in Cincinnati that are filled and available to pull you in and help you build these ideas out. The Amazons of the world. We've all seen Amazon, right? They're looking 50,000 jobs, looking for a city to do it. What is Amazon going to need? People that know tech, right? So what is going to pull Cincinnati away from that? One, we already have all the shipment stuff here. We have job force, I believe. We have the shipment, we have all that stuff, we have all of our branding companies here. But one thing that's going to hold us back is we don't have 50,000 tech jobs that we can fill. They're going to have to go out there and spend a ton of money and get people to relocate to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not an easy sell. We're not on the coast, right? How are you going to go to San Francisco and say, hey, besides for our, one thing that we do have going for us is our cost of living, right? They can come in here, we can form it in a lot easier, but it's still going to be a hard sell to get people to leave their entire life to come here and work for Amazon. So we need to have that ingrown, we need to have that homegrown, where we can recruit and bring people here from Cincinnati. We're not going to be able to go and say, we're not going to be able to convince 50,000 people to come to Cincinnati and work for Amazon, right? And they're not going to want to be able to spend the money to go through and do that and pay relocation packages. So what's the one thing going back from anywhere in the Midwest? They're going to go to Austin. They're going to go to Dallas. They're going to go somewhere where they have all these jobs available. So what are we currently doing to help this problem? Tech Elevator just opened a new campus in Cincinnati. They were in Columbus before, and I think, another one. They've seen amazing growth. They actually are in the 3rd day, I believe, of their cohort, or 2nd week, sorry. They have 12 students in their first cohort. They're going to be doing some great stuff. I'm really excited to see what they come here with. Cincy Code at Max IT is another program bootcamp here in Mason. They're expanding their programs. They do Java and .NET programs right now. They are also getting into, I believe, like DevOps and other stuff like that too, which is really cool to see. So additional opportunities to learn there. Grow Develop It. Amazing program. Pay $90, go through, you go learn the fundamentals. They have some more advanced stuff too. If you're not, Grow Development is a means to get into something else. So you can go through, that's where you're going to wet your teeth, that's where you say, hey, like this is something I really want to get into. And then you can lead them into a different program. I think probably 3 or 4 of my students actually came from GDI. So with the GDI, figured out they really loved it, and then came to us to learn and expand their career. Gaslight, the internship program there. If you're not familiar with Gaslight's a development company here in Cincinnati. They are actually doing an internship program where they're recruiting people from all over the world to come in. They're actually training them and putting them on a team at Kroger. So if you make it into their internship program, they're going to take you, they're going to implement you on a team in Kroger. You're going to learn with them, you're going to develop there on their program, on their platform. Then after 6 months, Kroger has the opportunity to hire them. So I think they did 2 last time. Both of them got hired by Kroger. And if you don't know, Chris Nelson's the one leading this over at Gaslight. He's looking to expand this into more Big Coast. So this is one of the ways that we're kind of finally getting into the big companies here, is by actually doing these internship programs. So that's a really cool thing I'm excited about. Hack Cincy, Revolution UC, hackathons. So you don't have to be a developer to come to these. You can just be somebody that's business-minded and come through and learn and be involved in a weekend project. So Hack Cincy is one of the one I'm organizing. Revolution UC is the hackathon put on by UC every year. Usually sees about 300 participants. It's really cool. They all come together and build a product over a weekend. It's judged by some of the best minds and best product people here in Cincinnati. We're doing conferences. MX UX 2017, I believe it's this week. It's a UX conference here in Cincinnati. We had RubyConf last year. I would love to see more of these. I think it'd be great to have more conferences come here. Bring people from across the country into Cincinnati and see what we're doing here. right? Have people from local talk at these conferences and see all the cool stuff that we're doing, bring them in and make them interested in the city. STEM programs. I love STEM. I think it's really important to have these students be engaged in learning more. Like I said, I never was given the opportunity in high school to be involved in that. One of the things with my kids is they will go to a high school that has a STEM program. I think it's really important to just, for the growth of being logical and getting into the thinking mindset of an adult. You don't have to be a developer. You don't have to be having that mindset and be able to think logically. It's really important, especially when you're growing. And then there's a good selection of groups, meetups. One of the coolest things about our community is we are really small, so we have, everybody pretty much knows each other, we mingle together. We have Cincinnati JS meetup, we have Pi meetup, we have the Drink Up over here. So you can get really involved in the community just by going to these meetups and learning from people that are there. Don't be afraid to go and talk to people. So if you're not familiar with meetup.com, it's a great resource for actually getting into and getting involved in the community. You can go in there and see some of these meetups. Go and say hi to people. Start talking to people. You'll be able to get really involved and just be able to like expand your knowledge. So what does the future hold? Where do I see us? What do we need to do to grow? We need to get better at educating our future leaders, right? So we need to find some way to elevate STEM programs, reach younger generation. I don't have an answer for that. I'm hoping somebody smarter than me does.
I'm working on it.
All right, cool. So, I mean, I'm willing to help wherever I can. There's more, I know there's tons of developers that are willing to help and get involved. So, whoever, if you have ideas and thoughts on that, come talk to me after. I'd love to discuss it. We need to make boot camp models more accessible. $30,000 is a lot of money. People can't afford it. People can't quit their jobs for 13 weeks. We need to make those models more accessible to anybody that wants to get involved. So we need to start accepting FAFSA. We need to be able to get involved in the government funding. We need to find some way to have people better be able to fund their dreams, right? However we work through that, I don't know. With the Iron Yard, we actually set up a $500 million fund through White House. What that is, we were with the Iron Yard had gone through and said, okay, I'll give you $250 million of free tuition to any student that qualifies on a certain amount of things. So we're going to fund $250 million of that through the White House to come to our program and for people to take these classes. After we reach that $250 million, the White House is going to fund the other $250 million to pay through the rest of the students. So I think it would have created probably 2,000 jobs. Now that we failed, I don't know where that stands. So that was, I mean, the government is willing to work with us in some of the capacity there, but needs to be more involved. We need to better educate and prepare our graduates. I have interviewed a lot of students straight out of school. One of the things that the issues that we see with people coming straight out of these programs is they learn theory-based, right? They're not fully involved, they have not done the full engagement to get directly into a product or into a company. So they are, I mean, they're smart people, right? They know how to develop. They don't have the business skills that we need. They can't come through and understand the business needs that we have. They don't understand some of the new current technology, right? Sure, they know theory, they know, but they still have not experienced enough of life or the business to come through and help me immediately. Especially on a startup role. We move quickly. We are shipping code daily. We are throwing things together really quick. I can't sit here and train somebody on the basics of this. Maybe the big companies can, maybe that's where they can come in through. But if we have students coming straight out of school, getting me into a startup is hard. So one of the things that we can do with that is more co-op programs. UC does a killer job of it. Taking them while they're still in school and investing them and putting them into a company helps them out immensely.
In Ohio, Jobs Ohio,
yeah, Jobs Ohio is a big help there. We actually have at Ecology right now, we have an intern. I think he's done 2. I know a couple other interns that I've worked with in the past. And they sit there, and we'll go through and I'll interview these guys right after they get out there. They said they learn more in the 3-4 months they're with us. They have their 3 years in college. Right? Why is that? It's because they're going through actual real life experiences. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that college is wasteless. It's not. right? It's not. But we need to find a way to better prepare them for real, actual work experiences in real life. It's not helpful. Computer science is great, right? Computer science is great. Maybe it's coming off of that. They're building different educational models. Maybe it's software engineering or software development, not just computer science. So have given them additional options while they're in school to learn the difference that's not just theory and more product-based or more real-life experience-based. Maybe that's a good solution.
It'd be really interesting to, I think that computer science departments really need to keep talking with, especially the startup community, about what they need. Because more and more the state is coming to us, so Dr. Amy Nivens from the Air Force Institute of Technology, is that the state's coming to us and saying, we want you to kind of rethink what you're doing and maybe not so much creating great students to go into great jobs, but is that helping mentor people so that they can create good jobs, right? So, and that's more of a full package. We've been hyper specializing people for a long time in academia, and we need I gotta put props on the National Science Foundation. They've been saying for a long time we need general engineers, and that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we specialize. They're learning so much serious. They're not giving you the business information and all that stuff they need to.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things that actually Miami's doing now, I went to Miami for 3.5 years, grew up in Oxford my entire life, is they are actually requiring every single business student that goes through them to take 2 classes on JavaScript. Right? So you're going to have, if you're graduating with a business degree from Miami, you're going to have some knowledge in coding. I think that's a requirement in today's society. So you have to at least know, especially if you're wanting to get into tech and you want to build a technical product, is you have to have some kind of experience to know what you're talking about, to be smart enough to tell a developer what you need. I want to create a more diverse and inclusive community. I think that's really important. And for us to succeed, we have to have that. Right? I think Toronto's going to talk more about that coming up, so I'm super excited for it. So I'm not going to get too much in now. Let him fill you guys all in on that.
Well, it's fun to hear the fintech guys say, like the big folks who just came out, is that, when they were pitching in Columbus for FinTech 71, they were like going, we need diversity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a problem. Like, I work with 2 women engineers. The problem with that is that you get one idea of the sociological economics when you're working with just white guys, right? Is that there's not a lot of issues that get seen in prep. So when you have multiple minds that come from different parts of everyday life, is that you bring everything together. So when you have a bunch of white guys sitting in a room saying, I'm developing this, you get Snapchat, right? You get stuff like that. You're not getting the full breadth of what everybody in the world wants. I think that's really important. So, I mean, that's kind of all I had. I wanted to leave plenty of room for discussion, Q&A, which I think I usually take that on pretty well. So if anybody, go ahead, sir.
You brought up an interesting point when you said there's nobody who can do this effort. And I spend a lot of time in the education space too, just as you do. And it's like, we have a lot of people all working on different things and different models.
Yeah.
So what do you see that one initiative looking like? As a dream, right?
Yeah, as a dream, I mean, I really don't know. I like you said, I know, I mean, we both work in the same, we had the same friends, we had the same college, we had the same network. So there's a lot of people that are individually doing things, but there's not one just group collective that needs to come together and do that. I think Hack Cincy is like, I mean, that was one of the use cases that I brought up when we were in that together, so we can bring everybody together under one umbrella.
I think one of the challenges for our community, the developers that are working now, is that we tend to be very independent-minded, partially because it's a result of the freedom that we get from their selection. So we're very independent-minded. We have our own way of wanting to do things, our own conception of how it's going to learn, and we think about things in such detail, such granularity, that it's oftentimes, I've found, when I talk with other developers about this challenge, we have very little that we actually agree on, even though we both agree there's a problem. We don't really agree on the details of the problem.
Yeah.
or possible resolutions for it.
Yeah.
So, unless some kind of consensus reality emerges amongst us, I don't know that there's going to be an organized effort. I think it's going to be more, it's 1,000 Lilliputians holding down Gulliver, instead of somebody the size of Gulliver taking him on.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if there is really an easily organizable solution, so long as we tend to be hard to herd cats.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's, we can't even agree on text editors.
Right.
How are we
That's
going to agree?
only worked for like 50 years.
Yeah, we can't agree on text editors, we can't agree on languages, we can't agree on frameworks. How are we going to agree on bringing people together to help humanity?
Because, my idea of what I think students should be coming out of college with in terms of understanding about programming doesn't usually line up with a lot of other developers' view of that. But I can tell you that almost every one of the developers would say, well, we don't need all these students coming out of college with Flash experience.
No.
That's not helpful, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason to do Flash ever again. You can drop that from all curriculum right now and nobody's going to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? Dreamweaver. Why is it that we're teaching front-end skills in Dreamweaver?
Yeah,
It's just,
exactly.
it's a crutch, right?
Yeah, it's
They
exactly.
should be using a text editor, and they should learn how to work with Photoshop and upload tools, and they'll be a good front-end developer. But yet, the college programs that are developed around this are still teaching decade-old technology because that's when their professors were working in the industry.
Exactly.
Well, I saw, so I went to the, UC hosted a sensor forum at the beginning of last year. And one of the people who impressed me the most was, there's a lot of really great things that were introduced. The capabilities that sensors can come out with now, the fact that we're dealing with multimodal information, that's going to change the type of applications that we're going to be working in. And in some cases, the way that we do programming. There's going to be a lot more parallel programming, how we manage that, how we manage the I/O. That's all a big part of that. The thing that they brought to it is they were talking about slow tech, and I really like that. And there was a lot of overlap between what that one professor, what she was saying, and what I saw at the Global Health forum that they had 2 months later in April at Ohio State. So I personally work in general artificial intelligence, and people have been telling me for years, oh, Amy, that's very nice, we're not ready for that type of stuff yet, but we are. And that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to work in STEM, is that I'm actually bringing stuff to very young children. Because one, it's easy to implement this technology at their level, because they haven't seen they've had they're hungry for more, let's put it that way. They don't know how to swipe right by the time they're 1 year old. So what's interesting is that what I feel with general artificial intelligence, if we can show that we can implement it within, if you feel comfortable letting your children play with general artificial intelligence, right? You feel like you may have done it right.
Yeah.
So there's people. So I come from a background that I'm a 20-year Air Force veteran. I worked with advanced research for a while. I had a stint as a program manager at the Air Force Office of Scientific Research, where I got to look at the vision thing, right? I got to travel, not just over the country, but over the world, looking at how people were, working and working with teams. So you've got resources of folks like me who are in and around, and a lot of people are hungry to start something in this area. We will help. There's other former program managers of AFOSR and DARPA who are in the Midwest right now, who are really hungry to start something and to provide some guidance on this. We really want formal methods. We really want ontologies and hierarchies to be something that young people are introduced to. More on combinatorics, because one, we have to help ourselves handle the combinatorics of modern life, let alone our children.
Exactly.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah, sorry about that. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of like what I thought this topic would be about would be like how we're working with schools to do this, because I understand that at one point you have these boot camps that come in between, they can produce quickly, people that are going to be up to date, but who's working with like the university like NKU, UC, and other universities in the area, because you don't have the budget that they've had to attract students to their programs. You're not graduating, 50 people a year, 100 people a year. I don't know if the program looks like. It's not, probably not more incentive to that. But it's like, what is the, how are we working with the schools in the area to address the issue that you're talking about with Amazon, where Amazon is one company, or other companies, including companies that are here right now. My company is looking to hire people. Where do we go? So how's that question?
From my experience, I mean, like I said, the co-op program is really big in getting students involved in like learning more. So you're saying, how do you get more students interested in IT, like going into school?
No, how do we get the school involved in getting them to understand the needs of the city of Cincinnati?
Okay.
Maybe we're talking about before, they may be behind on what we need, right? So what are incentives for the schools to get involved to work with that? Because I've seen a lot of companies that do things like Venture for America, where they bring students from outside of the state because they see that we don't have it here. So what's going on?
One of the problems with that is it usually takes 2 years to go through all the red tape in a traditional college environment to build a new curriculum based around technology. So one of the things that is hard and why the boot camps succeed is that technology changes so quickly, right? So I mean, it's hard for this traditional colleges to come through and teach what's new when they have to go through and put in all this information to the government to get approved. So that's why, I mean, there's only so far you can go when you're reaching into a giant, I mean, think about colleges, right? All the money that's coming to the government, all the people you have to go through to get approval, is that as developers, I can go in and mentor these students, but actually getting involved in the curriculum, there's not a lot I can do. So it's going to take 2 years to change that. So, I mean, I would love to be able to come through and talk. I've done talks with Miami. I know Brian Sturgico, he does men's talks with Miami, getting involved. So you have to actually go through and reach the students while they're in school and give them the ideas and the privileges and actually give them the knowledge they need to teach themselves. Because
to the question about, why aren't colleges preparing kids for what companies in the area want to do now? There are curriculum advisory panels for most of the colleges in the area. If you want to sign up and volunteer for it, they'll take that.
There is also something going on in Partners for Competitive Workforce that bring together the colleges and the companies. I belong to it.
I would love to learn more.
You'll be aware of the conflict here because college professors are taught, you don't prepare for somebody for today's job, you prepare them for a career over a long time. It's not just about what somebody wants today. So they always are second guessing. Whatever we tell them what we want now, they're always second guessing us on that because they know they can't prepare somebody just for tomorrow's job.
Yeah, I think just quickly, because I know we're running out of time here and we're going to go to the next part, but I don't think that's necessarily true because you have places like San Francisco.
Well, not true, it's taught.
Where San Francisco, like you have Stanford there, which is like the main reason why a lot of those students from Stanford go on to be part of those tech companies. I think that we can do the same thing here. I think that just some start animation.
Yeah. I mean, it's reaching out to the professors and getting them involved. Most of them are so traditional, is that it's hard to get into their brain and convince them that there's a different way to do it.
Yep.
So if you look at Stanford, most of their professors are actually younger, not tenured.
Yes.
Where here, we're dealing with tenured instructors that have never actually worked
If
in the
professors
industry.
weren't tenured, this would be a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
All right, on that one, we're running out of time.
I could go on for hours.
Thank you guys. Give them a big round of applause.
Popular idea.